welcome to TV and Film Focus. I'm your host, Victoria Main. We're here today with our regular panelist, Francis Hyde, and our special guest, director of the North by North Film Festival, Matt Koshmer.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So, let's talk all things festival, which starts Wednesday, yes?
That's right, yep. Wednesday, we're starting with our pitch competitions at 3 p.m.
Okay.
Yep.
And it just keeps rolling from there.
Yeah, so we'll have the pitch competition for the first 2 days. We're going to have our awards ceremony on Friday, and then kind of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, most of the programming is after 5 p.m. until late. And then Friday, we're going to have our awards ceremony where we're giving away $18,000 to local filmmakers and grants. And then we're having an after party at Zeitgeist, where kind of all the floors of Zeitgeist will be open, different things going on in each theater. We're going to have a band, a DJ, a comedian, improv. It'll be a fun time. Wow,
that's Friday night?
That's Friday night, yep.
Okay. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about what your mission is with North by North Film Festival.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, at its heart, North by North is a community film festival. And so I've been working now with Zeitgeist for a little over a year. And I've been working in film kind of education and film programs in northern Minnesota now for over 2 years. And so I started working with the Minnesota Discovery Center, and we were developing community education film programs. And so we raised some money through grants, and we were able to get, equipment and computers, and able to bring in instructors that had experience teaching and had experience, behind the camera and working as directors. And we brought that down to Duluth with Zeitgeist, and so the film festival is really it's just one part of this holistic strategy for cultivating an independent film scene here in the Twin Ports area and in kind of greater northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin.
Yeah, and okay, so now we have 2 film festivals, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
We've got North by North and we've got Duluth Superior Film Festival, so the more the merrier.
And they're far enough apart that I don't think they conflict with each other.
So that's great. So talk a little bit about, what kind of films would people see at the festival?
Yeah, I mean, so our programmers are from the area. We also have programmers that have experience with national festivals. I've worked as a programmer internationally, so I used to bring films from East Asia to Austin, Texas as a programmer. And we also have been working with community partners. So we've been working with the Duluth NAACP, with ACO, with TPAC and the Minnesota Environmental Partnership. And so we keep our community partners in mind with our programming. So for example, our opening night film is called Bad Acts, and it's a documentary film made by a Cambodian-American filmmaker who grew up in a small town in Michigan, and it documents his time back home during the year of 2020 at his family's restaurant, and kind of being able to keep the restaurant open, and it follows kind of the relationship between his father and his mother, and then his siblings, and because his father was a Cambodian refugee, and he fled the Khmer Rouge. It really shows like how he goes into kind of survival mode during the pandemic, and how that kind of causes drama within the family. And then the film really like shifts into after the murder of George Floyd, kind of racial justice and racial justice awareness start becoming a thing, maybe for the first time, really, at least observably in the public in some small towns like this town in this film. And the city becomes, or the family becomes involved with advocating for racial justice, and they become kind of a lightning rod for some of the prejudice in the city, but also support from the city. And I thought it was an incredible film. I saw it at South by Southwest, and it was just really beautiful to see this family come together in this challenging time for all of us, really, the year 2020. It was very reflective. So I guess long kind of winded explanation there, but that's one of the types of collaborations that we're thinking of with our programming. So we have TPAC, which is the local, it's Twin Ports Asian Pacific Islander Desi Collective.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, and so we've worked with them to program some of these films, and they're hosting the Q&As, and we're doing the same thing with ACO and the NAACP, and so we have that. And then also, I mean, just like with the spirit of Duluth and like the filmmakers that are here, horror is like a big category here.
Yeah.
And so we have a horror short section. We thought with our programming, we've programmed local horror feature films, and both of those features are close to selling out, which is fantastic. And so we're doing a mix of bringing films in to our community with these community partners, and also supporting local filmmakers with our programming, and also encouraging new filmmakers and supporting existing ones with these grants that we're giving out.
Nice.
Yep.
So the grants who are the grants through then? Is that through Zeitgeist, or who's? So
the grants are through the film festival, but the film festival is Zeitgeist. It's Zeitgeist's new film festival.
Okay.
And it, like I said, it kind of goes hand in hand with the film school. And actually, 2 of my students from my documentary film class in the fall at Zeitgeist have films in the festival.
Okay.
And so it's really cool to see, 2 first-time filmmakers too. So like they're, took a class and made amazing films, and now, I think that's one of the awesome elements of the film festival is, being able to share these stories with our community, and have that in like this public setting, and of course like being in the theater and seeing it, and then being able to like talk to people about it. And so, I'm really looking forward to just having these in-person screenings with our local filmmakers.
So can you start, how does the pitch competition work, and how is it being judged, and what's going on there?
Sure, absolutely. So we had a application where people would submit kind of a proposal, budget, a treatment, or a script, depending if it's documentary or a fiction film. And so we had a independent panel of judges go through that first kind of category or the first round of submissions. And then we have 3 guest judges as well that are going to be judging the actual pitch competition. So we have 6 different categories for the pitch competition, and we have 2 finalists in each category. And so the 2 finalists are going to be giving an in-person pitch where they will talk about their film for about 10 minutes, and they can share a clip, or if it's not in production yet, they can share like previous work to see kind of their work. And then the panel will ask questions and kind of write down notes, and they'll decide ultimately which of the finalists ends up with the grant fund for each category.
And that's Friday night that's announced?
That is Friday night that will be announced, yep. And I will say that part of, I think that is unique to our pitch is that, we're, with our grants, we're both wanting to support local filmmakers that are established, but, as a filmmaker myself, I know the significance of getting a first grant. And, we also take into account, like, what will this mean to the filmmaker? And I think, for a first-time filmmaker to get a grant from their community, saying that we want to hear your story, is such a strong symbolic gesture. And so our judges are taking into account, the significance of how this will significantly impact the filmmaker that gets it.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I have to say, I printed out the agenda of the films. It's 42 pages.
Yeah.
And like, 3 to 4 films per page. So you're showing a lot of films. I'm really impressed with the breadth and the quantity of them.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, I think, around like 80 films playing, and we have about 50 filmmakers that will be in attendance, and not to mention, countless actors and crew and family and friends, of the filmmakers around too. So.
And though I love the fact that you're showing local films, but you're also showing international films.
Yes, absolutely.
There was one ethnic group in Finland that I'd never heard of. That there's a film about them. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah,
and so that's kind of the fun with our programming and having a great programming team is that my programmers were able to reach out and think of how can we get films that people might be interested in our region, since we have that large kind of Scandinavian population here that we did that. And then we also have a partnership with our sister city in Thunder Bay. And so I've worked with the Vox Popular Media Arts Festival and Duluth Sister Cities International, And so we're going to have a delegation of filmmakers from Thunder Bay that are going to be coming down, playing their films, and then we will be doing the same and be going up to their festival in the fall.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What do you know some of the films of the Thunder Bay filmmakers?
The one, the feature is Cup Confidential, which is it follows a kind of a hockey tournament in Thunder Bay.
Hockey is
Yeah.
perfect for it.
Absolutely.
And I loved the way you split up the short films into a short block: Beyond Space, Creative Therapy, Once Upon a Time, Family Heritage, Resilient Vulnerability, Time, Places and Spaces for the Family, and my favorite, Excuse Me, What? I just loved that as the leftover place for the short films to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell us what's in the Excuse Me What category.
You know, I'm actually not the person to talk to about that.
Let's
So
see if I can find it.
Yeah, my programmers, so I've, again, an incredible programming team, and they take into account, they watch all of the films, and then they decide the categories kind of based off of the kind of the zeitgeist
Yes.
of what is being submitted, and they come up with the categories based on our submissions.
The films that are there are A Day in the Park, Favorite Daughter, Functions Unlimited, Loser, and Detective Drews, which I thought sounded interesting.
Yeah.
And then I love the UMD student short films and the
Yep.
WDSE. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So UMD is one of our sponsors, and so we are working with UMD students, and we'll be showing their work that they're creating in their classes. The students that are studying digital media arts or have opportunities to make films in classes. And ultimately, in the future, we want to really incorporate the students into the film festival, into the programming and planning. Having students work behind the scenes at the actual film festival and the pitch competition. And I've been a film student myself twice, and being
Did you
able
fail
to
once, or?
no, I have 2 degrees, so I got my bachelor's and a master's.
Oh, okay.
And so, but a big part of that is as a film student is you're able to get all this theoretical and production practice in kind of a controlled space. But one thing that film school doesn't always offer is looking at distribution. How do you get your film out there? What is the world like outside of the program? And so I think it's an invaluable resource for students to be involved with film festivals and understand programming and thinking of just the kind of feel, the politics, the region, and understanding like how we can program films here that people will want to see, and how we can support local filmmakers, and just understanding that very complex world that is festival programming and distribution.
Well, and I think this shows 2 organizations in town that the local film community really owes a big thanks to. UMD, who also sponsored Catalyst,
Yep.
And Zeitgeist, because they were like a center for Catalyst and
Right.
doing this,
Kinda
and they do
headquarters.
Duluth Superior Film Festival. Admission, I'm on the board of directors of Zeitgeist, so I love it already. But it's just great that they're showing this stuff.
Absolutely. And then our WDSE block also, which they're also doing a panel. They're going to show films that have played on WDSE, that have been broadcast already, but an opportunity again for us to see them on the big screen, in our community. And they're going to have a panel talking about how local filmmakers can, get funding and be involved with PBS and the public television, and how you can get your work out.
Now, I'm curious, how did that get started? Did they approach you? Did you approach them?
I think it was kind of, we approached each other. I mean, we just with the visions and missions of both our film festival and I think what WDSE and PBS in general kind of stand for. It just seemed like a really great fit, and so we talked about. And then I've also had connections with WDSE because I made a film for their series In This Place last year, yeah, and. I mean, after that, I was just very eager to collaborate in any way we could.
I've always loved you talking about your film background. Can you tell us a little bit about your film background?
Sure. I mean, so I was really lucky. I was able to go to Emerson College in Boston. I did a degree in documentary film there. I was actually a screenwriting major for my first 3 years, and I saw a film by a documentary filmmaker named Frederick Wiseman, who's still a very prolific filmmaker in his, I think, his late 80s.
7 hours at a time.
Yes, exactly. And I saw one of his films, Titty Cut Follies, and I remember watching it. It was in our school library where they had these little, viewing booths, and you could rent out a VHS or a DVD. And I watched it, and then I watched it again, and I watched it again. And the next day, I went to the registrar's office and I changed my major to documentary. I've always loved documentary film. I think it's a way you can explore. It's a catalyst, a reason to explore something that you want to spend a lot of time thinking about or meditating on. And the themes that I've tended to explore have been kind of the evolution of tradition, looking at human relationship with kind of the natural world. And so I had my most recent feature documentary was about a disputed territory between South Korea and Japan. I shot that over the course of about 6 years. And it looked at kind of the generational trauma caused by the Japanese colonization of Korea, and looking at it through this lens of this symbol of this disputed territory as kind of the last physical manifestation of that period of colonization.
I saw that film. I enjoyed that film.
Thank you.
So, just so you know.
It was worth the 6 years then.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. I wanted to ask you a little bit, you're having the WDSC is doing a panel. Are there other panels part of the festival?
Yes.
Because that's a cool thing too.
Yeah, so we have one other panel with the Upper Midwest Film Office, and they're going to be talking about, they're going to have filmmakers that have already used the incentives, and it will really be the filmmakers sharing with the public and other local filmmakers, their experience with the incentives and their experience just shooting, films up in northern Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah.
And talk again about when is the WDSC panel?
These are both on Saturday. I believe UMFO is at 11:30.
UMFO Saturday at 11:30 a.m.
Yeah, and then WDSC I think is at 2. I want to say.
So can people do like if there are folks watching this
Three
who are like, oh, I'd definitely like to go to Saturday's stuff. Can people get a day? Can they do a day pass? Can you talk a little bit about how ticketing works?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if you're gonna see multiple films, the best thing to do is get a badge, because the badge gets you into the after party, gets you into the panels, it gets you into every film that you'd like to see. And so if you get the badge, you'll get an email with like a unique number, and you still need to reserve your seats. So the badge just makes it free, but you still have to go online and reserve your seats. For the panels, I believe you need your badge to get into that, but that is open to the public. I can't remember if we changed that to make that just open to the public, but I believe you need a badge to get into the panels.
Okay.
And then otherwise, tickets are $12 for every screening. The UMD screening, the student screening, that's free and open to the public.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Are there any films that are almost sold out, so you better go out and buy your tickets right now?
Yes, The Hand That Feeds.
The Hand That Feeds,
Yeah.
which is a local film.
Local film, yeah. Yeah, shot here in Duluth, and local filmmakers, and they've done an amazing job of getting the word out, and they've sold out almost all of the seats in both of our theaters. So we're going to be playing it at the same time.
I'm going to pretend to be Francis, and I'm coming to that because I don't want to miss that one. Yeah, Brandon Cole, who's one of our regular panelists, along with Keely Jeleno, for different reasons they couldn't make this episode, but Brandon was very much involved with The Hand That Feeds. And I don't know if Keely was involved in that, but I know that a lot of local folks crewed that and had key roles.
But did you see that Keely's film is actually being filmed right now? Right.
Yeah, that's why she can't be here.
My street is blocked off because of her film. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, that's actually why Keely can't be here today. So.
Any other films that you would recommend strongly?
I mean, it's hard to, it's like picking a child, I suppose, or your favorite child. I really enjoyed the film What We Leave Behind. That was another film that I found, or I saw at South by Southwest, and the director is going to be here in person on Friday. And it's another documentary about the filmmaker's grandfather who lives in Mexico and used to kind of travel across the border to visit family, but as he got older is now staying in Mexico, and it kind of documents his building of this house of almost this last kind of like life mission, so that his family has a place to gather after he passes. And it just follows that process in the relationship with the director, who's the granddaughter and her grandfather. And beautifully shot documentary. And that's 5:30 on Friday, right before the award ceremony. But I mean, there's so many great films playing. All of the short blocks are a lot of fun, really interesting films, and we have intentionally in our short blocks we have both local films and films from around the country and international films, so that you get like kind of a mix of flavors. So I can't really say like I have
Another local filmmaker that I think you've had on your show before is Lance Todd, who's showing Beyond the North Woods. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
There's one about Lake Superior, which I think sounds interesting.
And Lance's films are closing night film too, so that'll be a big one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's closing the event.
Yep.
Let's see what else was interesting as I was looking through here. There were lots of indigenous films, which I found very interesting.
Yeah.
That you were able to come up with as many as you were able to with diverse locations. All over the place. So.
And we have a great our programmer who kind of helps with the ACO Indigenous Filmmaker category that we have is Cayman Good Sky, and she's incredible. They're an incredible filmmaker and programmer, and so they've been a great asset to our team, and that's where a lot of that comes from. I will say one other film that I found or saw at the Fargo Film Festival was Glob Lessons, which is a comedy about a kind of a theater troupe, a duo.
A traveling
Yes.
I saw the description of that,
It's really funny. Both the director and the writer and producer are going to be here, and the two main actors in it. And it was just, I watched it, and it was just such a treat to watch. That was, I think, the closing night film in Fargo, and it's hilarious. It's tender and very touching at times, but it also, you can tell it's made by filmmakers that are from around here. I mean, the way they shoot Minnesota and North Dakota, it feels like many trips I've made across like I-94. So.
And what I always say is great when you're able to show the filmmakers there and the cast and crew. It is so fun to get to talk to them afterwards.
Yes.
And oftentimes they don't get a whole lot of feedback. It's their friends and family that they show it to. Yeah. And here's the situation. I mean, I've been in film festivals at Zeitgeist where I was able to talk to the directors afterwards, and I was just saying, it's great. I love it. I had one filmmaker tell me one time that this was for a film festival that Xena City Arts, a local arts paper, had that I was involved in, and I showed a bunch of films. I always tell the story that I wanted to show Ingmar Bergman's Persona, and the rest of the group at Xena City Arts said, Francis, we can't just show Ingmar Bergman. You have to show something local too. And I said, all right, I'll do it, but I'm not going to like it. And some of the films I still say that I remember to this day. This is 1988. I remember to this day reacting to that film, and one of the filmmakers, I went up and just, that was so brilliant. I loved it. And he said, I was just getting ready to give up. Thank you. I really was going to give up, wow. And now I'm going to go try again. And so it's just so great that you get to talk to the filmmakers, the cast and crew, give them their reactions, talk to them in person. It's wonderful.
Well, and I think especially after we've been deprived of that for
so long,
a while. Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely that's been one of the problems with getting feedback from people, finding out what is working and what isn't working in your films.
Definitely. Yeah.
And that's what film festivals do beautifully, is allow that interaction with the filmmakers, the actors, the audience, to really find out what clicked for people. Seems to me that would be a very beneficial thing to filmmakers.
Absolutely, and as a filmmaker myself, I mean, there are films that I have worked on as a cinematographer or as crew by meeting people at filmmakers, because there is the exhibition part of the film festival for the community, but it's also almost like a trade show for filmmakers, and so you're able to meet other people and
right.
You see what other people are doing, and because we have a Midwest focus, I mean, there's a potential for a lot of collaboration between the filmmakers that are coming to our festival.
Cool.
Yeah.
So people can get a festival badge, which gets them into everything. Why don't you give us that? Is it on the Zeitgeist website?
Yeah, if you go to zeitgeistarts.com,
Okay.
It will be kind of right now our big main banner is the film festival. Click on that and it'll go through to badges. And then you can also click on the program that Francis has here, and each individual film will have tickets. So if you don't want to get the badge, you can just buy individual tickets per film, and they're $12 per film.
But if you buy the badge, you still need to reserve your seat.
You have to reserve the seat. So you
Okay.
still have to,
Okay.
when you get the badge, you'll still have to go to the program, go through the box office like you normally would if you were going to pay with a credit card, and at the end it's going to ask for a Flex Pass, and you put in your code number there, and then your seat.
But it's really simple.
Yep.
It just works really fast. So it's very easy to do. So.
Okay, and how much does a festival badge go for then? And then that gets you invited to all the parties and everything
Yep,
too,
that's
right?
$75.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
So
that's-
think about it. So if you're a film goer and you're going to go to 3, 4, 5 of these over the course of a 5 days, right?
5 days, yeah.
5 days. So if you go to one film a night by buying the pass, you almost pay for it by itself, and then you have something else. You can go to the parties and the events.
I mean,
So-
the after party, I think, in itself. I mean, like I said, we have a band, we have an artist, we have a comedian. We're doing improv. We're gonna have karaoke in one of our theaters. We're gonna be playing kind of 80s dance music videos in the other theater. It's gonna be a fun time.
80s dance music. I'm laughing because I was actually alive in the 80s.
Yeah. I was too.
All right, well, is there anything else people need to know about the festival?
I mean, I'm looking forward for everyone to come together, see some films. We are starting Wednesday, the 27th.
I know something they need to know.
What's that?
Go to it.
Yeah, go to it. Absolutely, right?
Go to the festival.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here, Matt. Appreciate it. Excited about the festival. Go to the Zeitgeist website, click on the festival, get your tickets, do it. It's going to be a great time. And Duluth now has 2 film festivals, so then later in the year you can go to the other one too.